Welcome in Jon Clark. John, Zach, and Mike here on Temple's campus. Thanks for a few minutes, and how are you?
How you fellas doing today? I'm doing good.
Well, we're doing great, and we appreciate you giving us a few minutes. So when you played here at Temple, they were consistently losing 9 to 10 games a year. And I hate to bring that up to you, but that has been the history of this program. It wasn't that long ago, I think it was 10 years ago, when the program was on the verge of getting dropped. To see all this national attention now with this Temple team, Sports Center, College Game Day, ABC in town, what was your thoughts of this past week and the performance the Owls gave on Saturday night? Because it was special.
We all talked about it down at the game where we were saying that this is what we wanted to play under. You know, the lights, the crowds, the tailgating, you know. But it felt good to know that at least they're getting that experience.
And let me just ask you this, too. This is a team, though, that they went out there. You could tell they really wanted to win the football game, and they were disappointed after the game, and they weren't able to hang on. Matt Rule said the other day that he still feel like his players didn't get over that loss to Notre Dame, and that was the vibe that he got in practice. As a former player, how do you get over that big loss to Notre Dame and now focus in on SMU?
I mean, there's no true way to get over it. You have to put it in the back of your mind because you have to focus on the next opponent. That's the one thing about football. The mentality in football is you don't worry about the next play or the last play you play. You just worry about this play right here. And that's what they got to focus on.
This offensive line now, they're banged up, this Temple football team. They have a few players questionable, and this is the first real time all year that Temple has been hit by the injury bug. Their leader from the offensive standpoint at center, their tough guy, Kyle Friend, won't be playing this week, and he may be out for a few more weeks. What do you look at with the offensive line early when you lose that big communication piece and your leader in center, Kyle Friend?
Well, one thing, Coach Chris has been doing well, like even during the spring. He rotated players in and out. So the experience of the player behind him, I'm not sure who was playing center because I wasn't there during camp. I knew during spring who was backup center.
Brendan McGowan.
Yeah, so Brendan was getting snaps in the spring. He's getting snaps in the fall. So I'm assuming he's going to be prepared to step in. Now, granted, there may be a little bit of a fall off, but that's expected. But as long as, you know, the communication is there, and the communication is there because of the fact, like I said, that Chris has been rotating them in and out. So they've all had to communicate with each other at some point in time.
We're talking to former tackle for the Temple Owls, Jon Clark. And, John, I know that this has been a monumental season for the Temple Owls, and we've talked to a ton of people on our show over the course of the season about how proud they are to see the program move in the right direction. What has this been for you personally, being a former player, and are you somewhat living vicariously through some of these guys?
I'm living vicariously, most definitely. But the biggest thing from it that I'm gaining from it is the fact that I think they're going to have to extend the playoffs to at least 20 teams. Because if we're showing anything that anybody can be beat on any given week, and the parity now in the NCAA is making it so that a mid-major can win a national championship if given the opportunity. And that's the one thing I'm excited about because to me it makes no sense to have just 4 teams in that playoff. If they open it up to 20 teams, now you legitimately give mid-majors a chance to get into the national championship race, as well as making all those bowls that are relevant.
I think Zach and I are going to have to talk to the committee. It was nice enough they changed it from 2 to 4, and slowly it's going to turn to even bigger. We might have to talk to them about getting it up to 20. But there are some really skilled offensive linemen for this Temple team, and obviously as a former lineman, I imagine you look at that play a ton. And we mentioned a ton about Kyle Friend and another offensive tackle in Dion Dawkins. What specifically about him do you like about Dion's game, being a former tackle yourself?
From what I've been watched on the film, I love his speed, and I love his aggressiveness. He's not accepting punches. He's not accepting blows. He's giving the punches, and he has great feet. So his footwork is keeping the people at edge. So I'm definitely loving it. I wish I had a chance to be with him during the spring, but he wasn't able to practice during the spring, and I wasn't able to help them during the fall. But from what I can see, he's athletic, he's big, he's strong, he can move, and he has that. And I don't know what that. I call it my, Trey Johnson. Trey Johnson had that edge, like that grit. You know, he was a good dude off the field, but when he got on that field, he had that grit that you didn't want to mess with him.
John, I love you as we're talking to Jon Clark, but I have to bring something back up to you going back to what you just said a few moments ago. 20 teams, like that's way too much for the college football playoff.
How many teams are in the D2 playoff?
Right now, in the D2, I don't know off the top of my head.
Because I think they play like 20 teams in the playoff. What I'm saying is, how many bowls? They play about 15 bowls, 15 bowl games, I think about. So, all right, let's say if it's 20 teams, that would be 10 bowl games. That would be 10 bowl games that are now relevant. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. Outside of those 4 teams that play in the playoff, I could care less about the rest of the bowls unless Temple goes, and I'm going to go to the game. But realistically, the rest of those bowls are irrelevant.
Sure, and yeah, you make a good point there. But the one thing that I'm going to circle back to and just look at with that, I think they should open it up to maybe 6 or 8 teams. I definitely agree with you. There should be an expansion, but I think now the focus with the current system that's in place, and don't get me wrong, I don't think 4 teams is enough. I think there should be more, and it does open the road for more of a mid-major. But I think the focus now for Temple is to go out there, run the table now, and then you get into that New Year Day or the New Year's Bowl, and they could possibly play in the Peach Bowl, because that came out last night, and they have Memphis in there right now, and Temple plays Memphis in their next home game in 3 weeks.
See, this is my thing about, like, I read the article about Coach Rule, about wanting the league, well, not wanting the league, but he doesn't know the future, you know, and what people are saying makes sense. You have to understand, any coach wants the chance to compete for the national championship. And as much as I love my school, the only way that we're going to get into that 14 playoff or even the 16 playoffs is we're going to have to be undefeated, and all the majors ahead of us are probably going to have to lose 2 games. And with that kind of, there's no incentive for a coach, but you feel like, let's say now you've expanded to 20 teams. Now there's a real legitimate chance for a mid-major to get in. So you can have a good coach, and a good coach will stay because he's not worrying about grabbing the brass ring. Because there's no coach that's going to tell you that's worth that salt that doesn't want to play for a national championship.
Something else that was also very surprising to me, because you're right, there is a certain perception out there of Temple University, and hopefully a week like Notre Dame, it obviously puts them more on the map, but I wonder how much respect they do gain and how consistently throughout the season that respect will last. But you have that Buckus Award comes out, and they announced the semifinalists, and I don't know if you saw this or not, but Tyler Medikevich was not on the Buckus Award semifinalist list. I just couldn't believe that, and, you know, all those schools besides one, I think it was Utah State was on there. They had that one non-Power 5 conference that had a linebacker in there. I watched Tyler Medikevich play, and I don't know how many better linebackers there are in the country. I could not believe that he was not on that Buckus Award semifinalist.
That's just a repercussion of playing for Temple. It just is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. Because I go back to my junior year when Trey Johnson got drafted. There's no way you could tell me there were tackles, maybe 1 or 2 tackles better than Trey that year. And Trey didn't go to the second round. And even my senior year, Lance Johnstone, one of the top linebackers that ever come through Temple, he was a second-round pick, and he was a first-round talent. It's just, for whatever reason, we have to take that step back because of the school we come from.
There's a ton of senior talent on this Temple Owls team, and you were fortunate enough to be drafted into the NFL by the Chicago Bears. What advice would you give to some of these graduating seniors who might be able to make it to that next level?
Just work hard, study your playbook, always study your playbook. And it really is just, it comes down, like I said, just working hard. There's no way to get over that. I'm trying to think of this thing I used to hear Kenny Anderson say, but he's like, you can't replace hard work, especially in the NFL, because that's all it is in the NFL is working harder than the man next to you. Because pretty much, like the coach used to say, this is the top 1%. Everybody here in this room was the best on their team. So when you get here, it's all about competition. I know you're good, I'm good. Just I'm not going to let him outwork me.
Now, Temple just had a really big loss against Notre Dame, especially a game that they thought they could have won. They were up late in the fourth quarter, 20-17. We always hear from defensive backs and defensive back kind of coaches that after they allow a big play, they need to have a short memory to forget about that play and just go back on the field. On the offensive side of the ball, especially as an offensive lineman, what do you guys have to do after allowing a big sack or something?
The same thing. You gotta push it out of your head. focus on the next play, hear the play from the quarterback, and focus on what do you need to be doing. You know, what's the rule of this play? Do I have first outside, first inside? Do I need to be paying attention to the linebacker blitzing? You have to put all the last play out of your head and literally put every piece of mental focus on this play right here. And that's the hard thing about playing football on any level, especially when you go D1 and you go to the NFL. The hardest thing is to be consistent, play after play after play. And the only way you can do that is by forgetting the last play and just working on the one you're on.
Jon Clark joins us, former Temple University offensive lineman. And Jon, this is the great power of the internet now. I was able to go on there and research a story from 1994 that was written by Mike Jensen about you, and I was in diapers in 1994, so I don't want to make you feel a little bit old. I'm sorry if I did that. But what I do want to ask you, though, about that story is, even in high school, you didn't have aspirations, according to that article, about playing college football. Can you just take us through your journey and what football has meant to you in your life?
I was a kind of a knucklehead in school, so I didn't play a lot of football in high school. I played like 2 years of football in high school, so I didn't really get recruited a lot. And, you know, Philadelphia is more of a basketball city. You know, I played basketball coming up all through the intramural leagues and stuff like that. And they called me because they did an article on me in the newspaper, and Temple just called and said they wasn't on. And at the time, I was playing the All-Star game with Lance, Mark, Jeff Coles, and they were all going to Temple, so I said, sure, I'll go. And not till I got there and I started practicing that I realized, okay, I can play here. You know, like I was seeing guys with scholarships, and I was like, there's no way. If he has a scholarship, I should definitely have a scholarship. So, and once I saw that and I started believing in the fact that I belong, you know, sky's was the limit. I got a scholarship, I think, my third year there, but when Dickerson came in. And, you know, I started my sophomore year, my junior year, my senior year, and I just kept working. It was really a surprise to me that I even got the letter to go to the combine, because I didn't think, since I went to Temple, I wasn't going to get a combine letter. But once I got the combine letter, that even shot my aspirations even higher. So now I'm thinking I definitely belong, and I just kept working. And even once I got drafted by Chicago, I just kept putting in work. And the O-line coach always said to me, don't ever let me have to ask you to grab a bag. That was one of the best advice he ever gave me. So I always made sure I hustled to the next drill, to the next station, to the next bag, make sure nobody ever questioned my wanting to be there. And football, oh man, it's hard to put into words what football has done for me as far as learning how to be a teammate and be accountable for my actions to my friends, you know, that are on the field with me. It's the highest level of teamwork where you literally have to say to yourself, you know what, I'm not as good at this as you are. So you do this, and then I'll do this, and together we're going to be good. And that's hard to humble yourself, you know, to other people that you know are better than you in certain things, and you still want to accomplish your goal as a team.
How they develop you at Temple? Like because it seems like you were such a raw talent, and maybe there was a little bit of a lack of confidence in high school, and you know yourself much better than I do. But how'd they develop you at Temple to be the player that you were?
I would say Coach Hendricks, Coach Paulovecchio. When you hear them tell you, when you hear your coaches tell you that, you know, you can play on the next level, that helps, you know, but the big thing would be when I would have players come back, like a Mike Hennett or Eric Fenwick or Alfonso Taylor that were already in camp. You know, they left after my freshman year, and they were in camps, and they're telling me, you know, you could play in the next level. So it's like, that all builds your confidence. You have no choice. And once you start lifting, you start running, you start feeling good about yourself, it just, there's one statement Deion Sanders always say, you look good, feel good, play good. And I believe it.
When you got that combine letter, was that when you knew you had serious talent? Like was that when you knew, hey, you know, I have a big shot of going out there and really doing some big things through football?
I believed in my talent before I got the letter. But the letter made me believe that I had a chance to get to the NFL, because I honestly, you know, you hear about it all the time. Cats don't get to the combine, and then they might not get drafted, and they're free agent, and it's a hard road. But when I got the letter from the combine, it made me feel optimistic about my opportunities to be drafted and to play in the NFL.
So now you said you were a big basketball player growing up, and that's not surprising just because of the city of Philadelphia. It's mainly basketball driven. Give me the scouting report of what it was like for a big 6'6", 350-pound guy running up and down the basketball court. Because I'm a big guy myself. I'm 6'4", but man, like you must have been a dominating force, especially in the paint.
Yeah, they call me House. Like my friends at Temple call me House. And everybody always says, oh, they call you House because you're big. And I said, no, they call me House because I house the paint. Like, that was my spot. Listen, hey, the paint is my area. That was my spot. Like, even if you ran through my paint, I was going to give you an elbow just to let you know I'm here.
Did they ever call you Brick House? Because I would imagine you must have been, really strong at that age.
No, I had a nice shot. I had a nice touch. I could pass. I could do it all.
What was your 40 time?
I just couldn't jump. I played below the rim.
What was your 40 time?
At Temple, I think I ran a 5'1".
Wow.
Maybe a 5'1".
That's impressive. Real quickly, before we let you run, as Jon Clark joins us, talking about the Temple football team from this year and his time at Temple. When you were here, and like you said, Ron Dickerson was here. He's still coaching to this day. Do you still talk to Coach Dickerson?
No, I haven't talked to Coach Dickerson at all, honestly. I haven't seen him in years. I always say a blessing to him because he's the person that gave me a scholarship, so it saved me a lot. Just I know people that go to school and have to pay for books and pay for tuition and pay for fees, so I understand y'all pain. So when I got my scholarship, I was happy and very thankful, to the fact that he was the one that gave me my scholarship.
And
I was hoping he could have did better as a coach, but it just wasn't in the cards.
And now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you work at Temple University Hospital, right?
Yep.
So how nice is that still, even after all these years after you moved on from Temple, that you could still be here on campus and see the success of this program now and still get to work for the university that gave you a shot?
I tell people all the time, I am truly Temple made. My mother graduated from Temple. I went to Temple. My sister went to Temple. I have twin daughters that go to Temple now. It's just so many family and friends that go to Temple. I wouldn't even know where else to be except for Temple.
Well, Jon, you do an excellent job. I'm sure we'll see you on campus sooner than later. And we appreciate you giving us a few minutes today. Now, just one.
I'm definitely going to come in the studio. I'm definitely coming in there. You ain't got to worry about it.
Okay, that's fine. Maybe next time you come in here, there's a 20-team college football playoff.
I'm telling you, listen. Y'all know it'll work. It'll work. It can work. If these two can do it, why can't we do it?
Isn't there a concern, though, about how long the season is already? Because that would be like my only concern with that already, how long the season is. Like, I definitely agree with you. Like, I definitely agree with you. Like, they should extend it, but I just think 20 teams is too much to me. I know that I get your point that there are so many irrelevant bowl games right now. There's like 40 bowl games as it is, and I'm sure they'll have a Jon Clark Bowl someday. But still, they got to find a way. I would put 10 or 8 teams out there, and then you'll get a mid-major in there. I would think.
I think you can get. I think if you get 10 teams, you can probably slot the mid-majors in. I just think if you want to keep it relevant. To me, if a D2 schools can do it, there's no way that you can tell me D1 schools can do it. And when it comes down to it, it's going to come down to the money. If they show that they can make money, they're going to do it. It's just that simple.
And that's why they have so many bowls right now, because they get all that sponsorship for the money.
And this is my thing. They got all those irrelevant bowls and they make money. Imagine how much money they would make if you actually made those bowls relevant.
Do you think the fans would show up, though, for, in a 20-team playoff? Let's say you have a school like Alabama. Do those fans necessarily, like I'm talking about the student body that has to put money out there really to go out there, do they show up for that first-round game that they know they're going to blow out an opponent if it's on a neutral site?
Yes. Yes. They travel. Schools like Alabama, Penn State, those type of schools with that type of tradition, they travel regardless. You saw when Penn State come to play us. They didn't think they were going to beat, they were going to lose to us. Penn State thought they were going to beat us. They thought they were going to come do the regular Penn State thing to Temple. So they came. They came for that irrelevant game. They traveled. They just, they got their butt kicked this time. That's all.
Damn right. We're up against it, though, John. We appreciate a few minutes today. You're the best. We'll see you in studio real soon.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good day.
All right, there's Jon Clark. An amped up Jon Clark joining us on the show right now. You like that idea? 20 teams?
It's a little too much. I
Right?
think that you got to take it slowly but surely. You work from 2 to 4. Maybe in a couple years it'll get as high as 8, and then 8 maybe to 16. I can't see it ever getting higher than 16, if that. It's also college football, so you can only play it once a week. You see how few teams make it in the NFL postseason. It's not like basketball or baseball or hockey where these guys are expected to play every other day. It's really a grueling sport that takes so much out of your body. It's a collision sport, so you can only play it once a week, and if you have a 16-team format, that's just too many rounds. I mean, granted, you can play probably some of those rounds during what is winter break for everyone, because the students that are on the field and the students that will be in the stands won't have to go to class, but it'll be a lot to organize it and get it into some of those big stadiums. It'll be too much of a headache, but it would be exciting for Temple, because I think legitimately if there was a 20-team format, they could manage to stun a team or two, and it would be exciting. It's just unrealistic.
To me, though, I do agree with them that there needs to be an expansion. 4 is too little. And I would expand it to 6, 8, 10, somewhere in that range. Maybe even 12 would be my max number. But still, for the goal for Temple this year, here's the goal. I think the goal is to be playing on New Year's. And to be playing on New Year's, to run the table the rest of the year. And you have to jump Memphis in that game, beat Memphis. And if you beat Memphis, then you jump them. And last night, Memphis was projected to play on New Year's, the Peach Bowl. So that's what I would say the goal is.
It's also an exciting time for the American. As much as a lot of people on this campus clearly are cheering for Temple, and even in the city are just so excited about Temple University, what it means for Philadelphia. You mention it all the time, Zach, about how this is a pro sports town, and really last week everyone stopped dead in their tracks and thought about Temple University. Every major station, every outlet was talking about Temple University. It's also exciting for the American. If Memphis is able to make a huge statement, and let's even say they go undefeated, and that means that they beat Temple once, potentially even twice in a conference championship game, that's good for the American, that there's one team that is so dominant that they really could be a top 10 team in the nation. That's so exciting for Mike Oresco.